unfortunately, my dog peed a bunch right here, and he pooed near the door. So we got to clean that up first. So hang on. Ugh. Let's go over this with the Swiffer dry pad. Clean that up. Oh. And then the wet pad. Jesus. Just trying to absorb it all. Brutal. Great thing to wake up to first thing in the morning. Ah. All right. At least it's isolated to one spot. So gross. Ugh. The hell's the thing? It's oh, it's so gross. So much pee. Oh, like holy crap. Yeah, great thing to wake up to first thing in the morning. Absolutely love it. Dog just literally gets pissed all over the floor. Love it. So yeah. So if your dog or your cat does that first thing in the morning, just make sure to get it cleaned right away. It especially sucks when I can hardly see where it's spread to because it blends into the floor. But that's so gross. Uh, at least this Swiffer wet did the dry pad and then did the Swiffer wet pad. Oh god. And then we're gonna study in just a minute. Ugh. Okay. All right. Yuck. And I'll just have to dry that up again. Okay, that is working. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Even when I'm not letting anything derail the study this morning. Just might be a little bit less because sometimes life throws a kink in our plans, right? I gotta clean up all this piss. There. Yuck. All right. And next I'll do just with my foot, microfiber cloth. Let that absorb all of it. Okay, so that did work pretty good. Hey, welcome live, ladies and gents. Welcome, welcome. Alexis video dump. Your house decor is chopped. Like, what even is that in the corner? What do you mean, Trent? Hello, Alexis video dump. My dog just peed all over the ground, so I had to clean it up. Hang on. Oh, man. Almost got it all. That dead tree thing with the pine cones. It's decorative. It's got some lights on it. It's got some lights on it. All right. That'll have to do. That'll have to do. That's all the time I got for cleaning. And then we're gonna wash thy face and get our coffee going. So stay tuned. Mindset fam. Okay. All right. Let's have our espresso. Boom. Coffee mug. Espresso. Which one should we have? Tanzania. El Salvador. You don't have a cat or dog? Yeah, I have a cat. Or sorry, a dog. I got a dog. The red one? Yeah, El Salvador. Thanks for the recommendation. Boom. He's over here. He's being a naughty boy because he peed all over the floor. Pino. Pino. Yeah. What are you up to over there, eh? Eh? Guilty. He peed and pooed on the floor. We had to clean it up. Yeah. But you can't be mad at him for long, though. He's such a good boy. All right. We got El Salvador brewing there. Hang on. All right. And then while that brews, yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy, Sabrina. Appreciate you guys all being here. I'm gonna get the my studying going in just a moment. Retaking mutual funds. So As always, a little pull. All right, I guess I gotta let him out again. You gotta go to the washroom, pup. Maybe he's yeah. Sometimes he's like a torpedo out there. I'm in Canada. Yeah, he looks cool. Looks like you're not a psychopath after all. Whoa. Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, he's a good dog. Yeah. Canada. I don't know about you guys, but my allergies in the morning, my eyes, oh yeah, bad allergies. I really want to go to Canada. You totally should. Oh yeah. Just yeah. Yeah, I know. It's a nice place. It's a nice house and little rancher. Um 1670 square feet. So 3 bed, 2 bath. So it works pretty good. Works pretty good. Starter home, right? All right. Cheers, Mindset fam. Just gonna get some milk in there. Oh, and then we got our milk, and then we got our protein smoothie. I am hungry too. What did I say? Is it just you or? Oh no, yeah, I'm married. My wife just had. She goes to work earlier than me. Minnesota. Oh, cool. Right on. Yep, that's true. Minnesota, Minnesotan, Minnesotans. There's an app I'm involved with, an affiliate for, called Cadre, and they're based in Minnesota. And I do like mental health like content for them, like just helping people with their mindset, personal psychology. And then I've been doing that as YouTube Shorts. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I've been married for 2.5 years. Yeah, going on 3 this September. So yeah, very happily married. All right, we got our coffee, our little rocket fuel to get us woken up, and then we got our little protein smoothie that I made last night. Yeah, yeah. And then what's crazy is as well, um, we've almost been together 10 years. So we'll have been together 10 years, October of 2027. It's crazy. 4 o'clock in the afternoon for you. Crazy. Let me get some twin. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Oh, that's a good smoothie. All right. So last night when I made this, it's got 2 scoops of protein powder, 350 grams of Greek yogurt, frozen berries, 2 scoops of creatine. I think I said 2 scoops of creatine. It's delicious. Mm-hmm. All right. I gotta let my dog in a minute. Gotta let my dog in. Appreciate it. Yeah. I like to be chill. I like to good vibes only. And I like to do lunchtime lives. People love the lunchtime lives because we're just sitting down, we're having a chat, we're eating lunch. I tell you guys what I have for lunch, and yeah, I'm gonna be going to visit fam with my wife and my in-laws to another Canadian province, and I've never visited another Canadian province. I've only left the country, so I either stay in my province or I've left the country. So pretty cool. Pretty cool because like that's even probably some people in your country, like where you're just kind of stick to your country and then you leave and you go to another country, but you don't necessarily always look what's in your own backyard, right? So We're going to another province. That's like only a couple provinces over from us, and we're gonna go explore. You're my new favorite YouTube. You may be small, but size. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. 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 No, I appreciate it. Yeah, like I'm up and coming YouTuber for sure, but I love I don't speak French, but I do I can say can he use the washroom? As hold on. What is it? Oh yeah. So my name is in French. Je m'appelle Alex. Comment t'appelles-tu? What that's like what's your name? And then Je m'appelle Alex is my name is Alex. I'm better with Spanish. Spanish has a lot of similarities to French. ¿Cómo te llamas? Is like what's your name? And mi llamos Alejandro. You have 23 people watching. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna go and get the doggo, and then we're gonna get going on studying because I know everyone wants to see what I'm studying. All right, there he is. Guilty as charged. Had to pee all over the floor. Okay. Ooh, hold on. Ugh, bleh. Hang on. His yeah, his feet. Whoa, 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 whoa. He like runs through the garden, right? And hang on. No, 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 no. Hey, hey. You don't, no, no, no. He tries running away when I'm doing his feet because I need to get one of those paw cleaners. Like they have one for golf balls where it cleans right on the golf course. There's also one for puppy paws. It cleans their paws because of course our dogs like to run through the garden and stuff, and it's littered in black dirt. There. Wait, wait, wait. There. Okay. Oh, I took 4 years of French and I don't remember a damn thing. Besides how to say my name and count. Yeah. Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, huit, neuf, dix. Yeah. There you go. 1 to 10. Um, yeah. There was 23 people watching there a minute ago. Okay. Now that we got our food, let's go and study. Mm, I love breakfast. I'm big on breakfast. Mindset fam. Okay. Yeah, and as of this morning, before this live, I was at 627 subscribers. So that's freaking sweet. Hey Molly, what's going on? Appreciate you joining the live. I'm about to get ready here. Let's see if I can bring in my coffee and the smoothie at the same time. Actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Hold on. It's 10 to 4 right now. Wow, you guys are like end of day. Mm, it is 7:52 a.m. Pacific. And I'm about to do all I've got time for is basically a half hour of studying, but hey, I'll take it. I'd spend like 15 minutes cleaning his pee up, so okay. I'm gonna bring this in the office. Yeah, I know. It kind of sucks. Great way to wake up in the morning. Yeah. And my wife had to clean up his poo, mind up, fam. Oh dear. It's been one of those mornings. Okay. Off to the office. What's that? But I think you will be. No way. Yeah. You'll make it. You'll make it. Just started streaming within the last 3 months, and it's like, yeah, streaming is awesome because people get to connect with you, right? It's really personal. So it's really good to do. Hold on, let me give you guys a different angle here. There we go. There we go. There's the angle. Okay. So as you can see, I'm not going to get ready. I haven't even washed my face yet because I find if I just dive right in, if I just have my breakfast, my coffee, that's what works for me. Because if I just like focus on getting ready to study, I procrastinate. So and I'm a little bit ADHD, so I need to just dive right in and hyper focus. So no, it's not true, Sabrina. I don't agree with that. No. Biggest thing I'm talking about on my YouTube Shorts right now is manifestation, right? We're blocking our manifestation by the way that we by our negative inner critic, our negative self-talk. And in order to reverse that, we just have to be like, I got it. I got this, right? Or if like you're struggling, instead of saying, oh, I don't got this, say I'm learning. And then if you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to get through this, to say I'm growing, right? We're in a growing phase or we're in a learning phase. And it helps put things into perspective when we speak like that. So we're gonna be doing half an hour session, and I'm on chapter 4 of my course here. And it was just talking about like budgeting and assets and liabilities. And yeah, if you've got 50 subscribers, highly recommend um going live because YouTube's pushing out lives right now, like TikTok as well. And people like lives, right? Being in the moment. Like I'm in the moment with you right now, right? No edits, just raw, real, authentic. And Gigi, welcome to live. Thanks for tuning in. All right, here we go. So I like to verbalize like my studying too, because I got to do a lot of reading because there's like 438 pages of this text, and I just chunk it out chapter by chapter, and then they do 3 chapters, I guess, is a section of the text. So here we go. So let's do a little session. Whatever savings the client has accumulated to date is considered part of the client's overall net worth. Net worth is the difference between the client's total assets and liabilities. Or more simply put, net worth is the amount owned less the amount owed. Total assets include the estimated market value of real estate, plus the value of all investments and the value of all other assets held by the client. Total liabilities are calculated by adding up the total outstanding amount of mortgages and loans. Car loan, for example. Any unpaid bills are counted as liabilities as well, like income taxes payable. The net worth number alone does not provide a complete indication of how much the client has accumulated towards his or her goals. For example, fluctuating real estate values can have a dramatic effect on a client's net worth, but little significance in terms of accumulated savings. Real estate is an illiquid asset, not readily convertible to cash, and is subject to market fluctuations. Example, if a client owns a house worth 400,000 that she paid 50,000 for several years ago, then her net worth has increased significantly. Conversely, if a client paid 400,000 for a home and is now worth 350 in today's market, then there would be a reduction in her net worth. And then there's a statement of net worth, which I'll show you guys. Talks about talks about like readily marketable assets that are convertible to cash. So we got savings accounts, checking accounts, guaranteed investment certificates. Usually you can convert those to cash within like 1 to 5 years. So really quick. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash surrender value of life insurance, mortgages at principal value, and then non-liquid would be more locked in stuff. Pensions, RSPs, annuities, and then other assets. So home at market value, recreational properties at market value, business interests, antiques, art, jewelry, etc., etc. Yeah. which again would take longer to sell. And then now we're in liabilities. Personal debt would be like your mortgage, mortgage on recreational property, credit card balances, investment loans, consumer loans, other loans, business debt, investment loans. So investment loan could be like a RSP loan, right? If you want to max out your RSP. Um, Loans for other business related debt and total, and then loan guarantees for others. So that means like if you're a guarantor on someone's loan, they're using your good credit to apply. Okay. And then both net worth and annual income right there. Oh, is this like really zoomed in? There. Okay. So right there. Both net both net worth and annual income are categories usually covered in a mutual fund account application form. The form has a number of checkbox choices that vary from institution to institution. The net worth box provides an indication of the current status of the client's wealth and how far the client has come toward the ultimate wealth accumulation goals. The annual income box indicates how attainable the goals are likely to be. Savings represent surplus or discretionary funds, funds that are not needed for day to day living. All clients should build up an emergency cash reserve. How much should be held will depend upon personal circumstances, but it should be in the range of 3 to 6 months of net income. So, net income is after your taxes, what's remaining. Um, Other types. Yeah. How should a mutual fund sales representative deal with clients who have little or no liquid cash reserve as part of their net worth? These clients tend to have relatively lower levels of employment income. This constraint limits their ability to generate a cash reserve for emergencies in the short term. If such clients want to invest in a mutual fund, then you should direct them to highly liquid mutual funds, money market funds, in case they require cash for emergencies. Other types of funds will likely have too much volatility. Um, um, have too much volatility to make them acceptable candidates for an emergency cash reserve. This is a responsible approach to take for such clients. Investment knowledge. Over the course of your career, you're going to meet clients with different financial and personal circumstances, goals, and objectives, all of whom will have varying degrees of financial market investment knowledge. This will be one of the most interesting and at times challenging parts of your role as a mutual fund sales representative. Some clients may have never invested before, while others may be highly experienced, sophisticated investors. Think for a moment about a client complaint involving a claim that money was lost due to an unsuitable investment. At the core of this concern is the question of whether the client understood and accepted the investment risk within their account. The complaint will trigger an evaluation of the client's investment knowledge and level of sophistication, and whether the advisor explained the investment risks at a level the client can understand. Um, the client focused reforms set out in National Instrument 31 103 13.2 2C5 or whatever, 4, a specific suitability determination obligation for you to collect sufficient client information regarding investment knowledge. Additional guidance is provided in its companion policy, National Instrument 31 103 CP 13.2, with examples of what mutual fund sales representatives should examine to determine a client's investment knowledge. These include a review of the following factors: the client's previous investment experience, um, their understanding of financial markets, their awareness of the relative risk and limitations of the investment, their understanding of how the level of risk taken can impact potential returns. These policies contain information that will help you know when and how to make further inquiries if a client's know your client information appears to be inconsistent with their apparent level of investment knowledge and experience. Investment knowledge differs widely from person to person and is an important determinant of how much investment risk a client can bear. Knowledgeable investors tend to have a better understanding of risk, as well as their own ability to bear that risk. In addition, knowledgeable investors understand the risk return trade off of securities and mutual funds, know how these trade offs should be reflected in their investment portfolios. Experienced clients um, usually are easier to deal with since they know what they want in investments and are aware of the risks. Risk profile. Client's risk profile requires an understanding of their willingness to accept risk tolerance, and their ability to endure potential financial loss. Risk capacity. The risk profile for a client should reflect the lower of the client's willingness to accept risk and their ability to endure potential financial loss. Yeah. So risk is a big thing with clients, determining that, right? Because I have 5.5 years in banking experience, so with three Canadian banks, CIBC, PC Financial, which it was called at the time, and then it rebranded to Simply Financial and Scotiabank. And a big thing, three things that stuck out when helping clients, right, do a risk assessment or analysis of like where they're at and how they want to invest their money, is, excuse me, time, right? How much time do you have? That is a huge factor in determining your risk tolerance. Your objective. So time, objective, and risk. Those variables are always, that's how we shuffle things around for clients, and ensure that we're um investing in the right products, like making sure they're invested in what they want to be invested in and they're comfortable with the level of risk that they take on. Because if they're not comfortable with a lot of risk, then it limits the types of products that we can provide advice on, right? Like if a client's really risk averse, you're not going to sell them a mutual fund. You're gonna provide them with like GICs or just a savings, right? Something guaranteed, right? Principal guaranteed with no downside. Um, that's suitable for certain investors, and then other investors are like, well, I want to invest. I invest in stock and invest in mutual funds. So, and again, like as a mutual fund sales representative, you can't. Once I get relicensed, you can't. I can't give advice on stock. That's a total different license. So, I'm not teaching anything. I'm just relaying what I'm reading in the text. It's the Canadian Securities course, CSI, and it's the Investment Funds in Canada course for mutual funds to get relicensed as a mutual fund sales representative to get back into banking. Because that's what I'm super passionate about, is helping people with their finance. Because let's be honest, it's a complex topic in households, right? Like how do we manage money? How do we manage our money better? How do we make more money? Like all these things that people think about. And I want to help people with that. Yeah. I know they give compound profile every month. Yeah. Very I love looking at like helping people with where they're at now. Here's where you're at now. Here's, with my help, I can get you to here. That is a very powerful conversation. Um, and then when you you know see where the client's at and then help them get to where they want to get to, like it's very powerful. It's very empowering. Yeah. Mm, yeah. I don't. I They give compound profile every month. Yeah. Oh, I haven't heard of a compound profile, but usually as an advisor, you give like statement updates like once or twice a year. Because if it's less than once or twice a year, I feel like it's more volatile in the short term, so it won't be an accurate depiction of where your investments are at. But yeah, but 15 days, 36. Hit subscribe if you want to continue tuning in. Hey, Chris. Yeah, yeah. Um, to the live. I'm just going to be studying for the next 22 minutes or so, just because I had to clean up my dog's pee. He peed right away, so a little bit disheveled. Oh, I see. Yeah. Profits are compounding like every month, 12%. Oh, interesting. Mm. But yeah, hit that subscribe button if you're new here. We're going to be going live every morning. I was doing meditations, but I'm just switching things up a bit because I haven't been able to get to my studying at night because we've been really busy with other stuff. So I'm trying to do it first thing in the morning. And there's about 12 or 13 pages left in this chapter. So and then I'll be able to do a quiz, and then I can show you guys how I do on the quiz. Yeah, what's that? All right. Yeah. Yeah, did I? A client's risk profile requires an understanding of their willingness to accept risk and their ability to endure potential financial loss, risk capacity. So yeah, your willingness to take risk is risk tolerance, but your ability to endure a financial loss is risk capacity. What can you hand? What kind of risks can you handle? The risk profile for a client should reflect the lower of the client's willingness to accept risk and their ability to endure a potential financial loss. Determining an investor's willingness to accept risk. Figuring out how a client defines risk and exactly how much risk they're willing to accept involves asking the right types of questions during interviews and questionnaires. Because it is hard to get a client to put their attitudes towards risk into words, one of the primary goals of a questionnaire is to pinpoint how the client defines risks and how much of it they are willing to accept to achieve their goals. Questionnaires should contain behavioral questions that seek to model actual client actions in different circumstances along the lines of, if this happened, what would you do? Typically, the answers to risk based questions allow the assignment of different degrees of willingness to accept risk. Da, da, da. Um, Once a client has completed an investor questionnaire, the answers can be used to determine the client's willingness to accept risk, usually by applying a scoring system. A point value is assigned to each potential answer. Appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate it. Yeah. They're all a little bit unique, right? We got lunchtime with me. We got morning meditations. We got now morning study. It's very dynamic, and I like to switch it up. And because my life, right, like is really busy right now, so I have to. I want to still get in the stream, but the stream will be a little bit different based on what my priorities are. And my right now the priority is getting this course passed because I also have my weight training still that I was doing. Right, I have to finalize that practicum for weight training to be able to move on to personal training because my ultimate goal is to once I get back into banking, work towards my certified financial planner designation. And I will take you guys along for the ride for that too. Hey, what's going on? Hanya, welcome. Welcome live. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you're new here. I'm reading my chapter 4 from my mutual fund course, Investment Funds in Canada course. So sit back, relax, enjoy the rest of the stream. We got about 19 more minutes before I got to head off to work. So I'll see how much more I can get read. Once a client has completed an investor questionnaire, the answers can be used to determine the client's willingness to accept risk, usually by applying a scoring system. A point value is assigned to each potential answer. No single question can determine a client's willingness to accept risk, as clients respond differently to different situations. However, with the completed questionnaire, a mutual fund representative can determine a client's overall willingness to accept risk by adding up the points for each response and placing the client into a risk tolerance category according to the questionnaire answer key. So anytime you're setting up when I was in Scotiabank, anytime like a lot of the banks have their own automated like questionnaires for determining suitability for a client to invest in mutual funds, whether that is suitable for a client or not. So um, we don't have to necessarily find those forms. Like those forms are already readily available to us when you work for the bank. And then you take the client through that meeting. Usually you're going to need usually an hour for that meeting. And the meeting will be half an hour, like discovery and analysis of determining if that's, suitable investment for the client. And then if it is, you have the other half hour to set it up because it does take some time because there's a bit of paperwork. But once it's set up, then it comes down to, okay, once or twice a year, has anything changed? Because people's risk tolerance can change throughout the year as well, dramatically in some cases. All right, what else do we got here? Determining an investor's ability to endure a potential financial loss. Assessing a client's capacity for loss involves the representative having an understanding of other factors such as the client's financial circumstances, including liquidity needs, debts, income, and assets. Another consideration in determining risk capacity is concentration. How much of the client's total investment account or a particular security represents. Age and life stages can also be an important consideration when assessing a client's ability to endure potential financial loss. Once these elements have been determined, a client's ability to endure potential financial loss can be fine-tuned by finding out how important their goals are and how serious the consequences will be if one or more of them are not met. If all the goals are very important to the client and they believe the repercussions of not meeting the goals will be severe, then the client's ability to endure potential financial loss is lower. On the other hand, if the consequences of not meeting one or fewer of the goals are not serious, the client's ability, excuse me, to endure potential financial loss is higher. Establishing a risk profile. I just want to do a quick peek at how far there we have to go in this chapter. So 4-16. 4-16. Oh, we almost there. Okay, it's a little while yet. Lots of okay. So we got 4-16 to 4-24. So was that nine more pages? Yeah. Hey, reading investment funds in Canada mutual funds course through Canadian Securities Institute. I'm doing my reading aloud, and I just find it helps me absorb the material more, and then I relay the information back to you guys. So appreciate you being here, Ina. Okay, I got about 9 more pages left, so let's see how much more I can get read in the next 15 minutes or so. Okay. Once these elements have been determined, a client's ability to endure potential financial loss can be fine-tuned by finding out how important their goals are and how serious the consequences will be if one or more of them are not met. If all the goals are very important and then they believe the repercussions of not meeting the goals. Oh yeah, sorry, I already read that. Establishing a risk profile. Client's risk profile represents a culmination of their willingness to accept risk and their ability to endure potential financial loss. As noted earlier, according to National Instrument 31-103, a client's risk profile should reflect the lower of their willingness to accept risk and their ability to endure potential financial loss. If both willingness to accept risk and ability to endure potential financial loss are low, then the client's risk profile is low. If both aspects are high, then the client's risk profile is high. Client's expectations for returns in line with their investment needs and objectives may conflict with the level of risk they are willing to accept. A desire to meet unrealistic expectations may lead such clients to ask the representative to invest in higher risk products that are unsuitable for them. Okay. A detailed discussion of the relationship between risk and return may be necessary to reconcile such conflicts and establish more realistic expectations. Hang on. Be right back. All right, Mindset fam. I just had to get ready. Literally, we're doing like 5 more minutes and then I got to go to work. Appreciate your patience. And I was away for a little bit. And we're going to drink our smoothie while we do this. And I'll just leave this up where I was at. And then if I can squeak in some more studying later, I will. Here we go. The client's risk profile represents a combination of their willingness, blah, 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 should reflect the lower of their willingness to accept risk and their ability to endure a potential loss. If both willingness to accept risk and ability to endure a financial loss are low, then the client's risk profile is low. If both aspects are high, then the client's risk profile is high. A client's expectations for returns in line with their investment needs and objectives may conflict with the level of risk they're willing and able to accept. A desire to meet unrealistic expectations may lead such clients to ask the representative to invest in higher risk products that are unsuitable for them. A detailed discussion of the relationship between risk and return may be necessary to reconcile such conflicts and establish more realistic expectations. A risk profile questionnaire is commonly used tool by many mutual fund sales representatives to help them carry out a purposeful dialogue to determine a client's attitude and ability to accept risk. Risk profile questionnaires are not mandatory, but a well-crafted one can help to substantiate the financial plan or investment recommendations that may follow. Mutual fund sales representatives who use questionnaires should also know that questionnaires with standardized solutions do not remove the suitability obligation from their role. Risk profiling is as unique and complex as the clients they are designed to serve. Representatives who are using profiling tools should be thorough. Skipping any one question could easily result in an inappropriate solution, depending on the design, the scoring, of the metrics. Correspondingly, a representative should not override the risk a client is willing and able to accept on the basis that the client's expectations for returns cannot otherwise be met given the risk profile associated with their know your client responses. The representative should identify any mismatches between the client's investment needs and objectives, risk tolerance, and capacity for loss. The questions at the source of this conflict should be revisited with the client. If the client's goals or return objectives cannot be achieved without taking greater risk than they are able or willing to accept, alternatives should be clearly explained, such as saving more, spending less, or retiring later. Sometimes, after discussion, it is determined that the client does not have the capacity or tolerance to sustain the potential losses and volatility associated with a higher risk portfolio. In such cases, the advisor should explain to the client that their need or expectation for a higher return cannot realistically be met, and therefore the higher risk portfolio is unsuitable. The interaction with the client and the resulting decisions should be properly documented. This means a copy of the completed questionnaire along with any illustrations used to demonstrate the risk return choices available to the client must be maintained in the client file and be accessible to your dealer and regulator for review. Okay. Suitability of investments is next. That should be a good section. So 4-17, and we've got till 4-24 or something like that. So 7 or 8 more pages. So I'll leave it there. And okay. And then I'll be back here for lunchtime with me, probably at 12:45 p.m. Pacific. Yeah. Very nice. All right. I'll see you guys later. Appreciate you joining into my stream. I know it was a bit chaotic with cleaning up the dog pee. That took like 10 or 15 minutes. And then that interrupted the stream. But I still woke up at 7:20, so I had a really good sleep. Definitely needed it. Ate a little bit too late, but hey, that's life, and we roll with it. So maybe happy, maybe healthy, maybe at peace. Peace, mindset fam. I'll see you guys at lunch.